Welcome to a special edition of the Brilliant Brand Show in an episode that's called Extra Consideration, where I talk a little bit more about the previous episode, which was building a brand on help and not hype. Welcome to the Brilliant Brands Show. I'm Justin Keller, former accidental marketer and creative director turned church branding expert and entrepreneur. Each episode, I'm unpacking the strategies that I've used to help churches all across America make their story, their brand visuals, and their marketing so brilliantly clear that it's impossible to ignore them. And now, it's your turn. I hope you're ready to challenge the way you see things, rebel against complacency, comfort, and conformity, and find your untold brilliance. Now, let the show begin. Welcome to this episode of the Brilliant Brand Show, and an extra consideration episode where I talk a little bit more about the previous episode. And this week's previous episode was rule number 3 for building a brilliant brand, which is integrity trumps trend. And inside of that episode, if you go back and listen to it, I talk a lot about brand awareness and the difference of building a brand and your brand awareness on your purpose versus building it on hype, buzz, and short-term events. And so I would encourage you to go back and listen to that episode. But this extra consideration episode is just, we're going to talk about something specifically that I want to challenge you with today. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever watched The Bachelor, the show. Don't admit it if you're a guy out there right now. Don't raise your hand or don't tell anybody next to you. But I have seen an episode or two because my wife watches that show. I promise you I don't watch it all the time. But I have seen an episode or two. And what I saw on that show, which made me think about us with our brands and building our brands, is they have the perfect dates. If you ever get to see an episode, I feel sorry for you, but also you'll see this. They have the perfect dates where it's always the most exotic locations. Everything's just, pristine. They get to go do these crazy things. It's always like flying in a helicopter when, just exotic dates that normal people would never get to have. But they do this all the time. And so they're building this relationship on the show off of these perfect experiences, that's not reality at all. I know it's called reality TV, but they're building it off of a false expectation, right? That this is what life looks like. And it's not much different than even like long distance relationships. My sister happened to meet someone online, and I just remember when they'd get together in person, face to face, it wasn't often, but when it was glorious because it was perfect. They always went on the perfect date. They didn't see each other day to day, so they only saw each other at their best and had long conversations, and it was so romantic. And you get these false expectations built up with those long distance relationships like that say, well, this is what it's going to always be like. And what I was thinking about was in regards to rule number 3, that integrity trumps trend, is there's no integrity in that. There's no truth to that this is the way that this relationship is going to be. This is just based on hype. This is based on, the buzz that like setting an expectation for this is amazing. And yet they're going to find out at some point that it's not. I think about my wife when we were dating. I set a false expectation for her because I wanted to win her over, of course. But what I did is I wasn't always the neatest person. And so when she would come over to my apartment at the time, I remember putting all my clothes that were laying around inside of another closet. And so when she would come over, she would think that this is clean. Justin's the perfect guy. He loves Jesus and he's clean. I'm just teasing. But the point is that I would create a false expectation for her that I'm going to be neat because she is extremely organized and extremely neat. And so I'll never forget the day that she opened up that closet, my hideaway closet where all those extra clothes were stashed away. And she found out that Justin isn't as perfect as she thought I was. And that happens with our brands too. These bachelor experiences, these perfect exotic dates, the long distance relationships where when you're together, it's all glorious for that little bit of time. That's how it is for our brand when we build on just hype. When we set a false expectation that this is how it always is. When we put all of our effort into wooing them and seducing people in just based on hype instead of letting our purpose be enough. It's no different than setting a false expectation in a relationship. And that is the thing that I want to challenge you with today, is that Your job as a church is to build your brand with integrity. It is to have your promotions be built around your purpose and integrity, because what that does is it sets an expectation for what people are going to experience from you as a church, as a brand. And I want that to be true all the time. I don't want it to just be, man, they were able to put their best foot forward when I came in only for Easter and then it fell apart after that. Let's not set a false expectation. Let's set a truth to what they can expect and actually create the reality that is the day-to-day. Even if you're not perfect, own that. I think that's one of the things that we can learn even from relationships. I think branding and relationships are very similar, that, we're not looking for they're not looking for us to be perfect. People are not looking for you to be perfect. They know you're not perfect, just like them. And so I think it's okay to let our guards down and let who we are with our flaws be enough. And just like in any great relationship, people accept you for your flaws and for your strengths. And so that's my challenge for you today in this extra consideration episode, is just build your brand on integrity, not on hype. Don't just set a false expectation for an experience that you can't live up to, that you can't sustain for people. So anyway, if you enjoyed this episode, if this challenged you, I'd love to get your feedback. And even if you didn't, I would still love to have your feedback. Head over to iTunes, subscribe, rate, and review the show. And as always, I look forward to the next time that we're on this together. And I appreciate you being on this journey, challenging yourselves to do whatever it takes to rebel against complacency, comfort, and conformity, and fight for the brilliance with your church brand. And so thanks for letting me be a part of it. You can stay connected on social media at Keller Thinks. Send me your feedback directly if you want to, justin@justinkeller.com. And until next time, make today great.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. The Brilliant Brand Show is powered by Circle 50 Creative. You can learn more about how we help ministries solve critical ministry moments with the right message, brand visuals, and strategies at circle50.com.